Hello, my name is Todd Stivanik. I'm the State Director of AARP Nebraska. AARP is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that works across Nebraska to strengthen communities and advocate for the issues that matter most to families of those 50 plus, such as healthcare, financial security, caregiving, retirement planning, and protection from financial abuse. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about our advocacy work and specifically about some important legislation that is currently being considered in the Nebraska Legislature regarding combating elder financial exploitation. Joining me today to talk about this issue is Suzan DeCamp, who is an AARP Nebraska Advocacy Lead Volunteer. Welcome, Suzan.
Good afternoon, Todd. Good afternoon, everyone.
So we're talking about a bill regarding elder financial exploitation. Can you tell me a little bit more about that bill?
Sure. LB297 was introduced by Senator Brett Lindstrom, and this bill would authorize broker-dealers and investment advisors to place a hold for up to 30 business days on transactions and distributions in cases of suspected financial exploitation of vulnerable adults or seniors. It would also authorize the broker-dealer, investment advisor, or other qualified person to notify a designated third party of that vulnerable adult or senior about the suspected fraud. It provides for record keeping and sharing documentation with the Department of Health and Human Services and the law enforcement. And then finally, it would provide immunity for that broker-dealer or investment advisor or other qualified person from administrative and civil liability for any actions that they take that are in compliance with the Act.
Okay, very good. Can you tell me a little bit why this bill is important to people 50 plus?
Sure. As we all know, that elder financial abuse is becoming more and more common, particularly with the increased social isolation and more people using the internet during this pandemic. So many of us have heard of or even received that phone call from someone claiming to be our grandchild and then asking for money to be sent, or that email or phone call claiming to be someone from the IRS or the Social Security Administration and then asking for your personal banking account number or for your Social Security card number. And the list goes on and on. There have been surveys that have shown that 1 in 5 seniors over the age of 65 is a victim of financial exploitation, with an average loss estimated at $125,000. So it is a big thing. The Nebraska Adult Protective Services investigated 2,565 reports in 2019, and 21% of those reports involved financial exploitation. And in 2020, the financial exploitation reports increased to 23% of all reports. And we know that the older population is especially susceptible to financial exploitation because they often have sizable assets, and they are not always able to recognize when fraud is happening to them. Seniors also are financially abused by those they trust and love the most, like their own children or other relatives. Additional side effects can be caused for these victims, not only loss of their hard-earned savings, but sometimes they become depressed and their health declines. They have loss of dignity. So this is really important that we need to work in this area. And oftentimes financial professionals are the first ones to recognize the signs that a senior or a vulnerable adult is being financially exploited. So it's important that they are able to act on their suspicions or observations to help protect their clients and not have to worry about civil or administrative liability. The potential for elder financial abuse will only increase as our elder population grows and grows. So we need to step up now to protect the well-being of those victims who are more vulnerable, the seniors and vulnerable adults. And I would also mention that AARP Nebraska did support a bill last year that was passed by the Nebraska Legislature. It was LB297, introduced by Senator Matt Williams. And that bill addressed financial exploitation as it related to financial institutions such as banks This year's bill, LB297, would provide the same for broker dealers and investment advisors, and it would even go a step further by requiring record keeping and sharing of documents with the Department of Health and Human Services and law enforcement. So AARP feels that LB297 is just yet another step in the right direction for combating financial fraud and abuse. And we will continue to advocate for additional safeguards, such as consumer education, professional training for recognizing financial exploitation, and public outreach.
Oh, that's great, Susan. So much great information there. And it is a real problem that exists and can have just devastating consequences for people who are victims of this. So anything that we can do to provide the tools to especially these financial institutions to recognize that there is fraud going on and be able to take the steps they need to step in and intervene before it becomes a real problem. So thank you for that. You mentioned that this bill had been introduced by Senator Brett Lindstrom, and we thank Senator Lindstrom for taking on this issue. It was referred to the Banking, Commerce, and Insurance Committee, and had a hearing on January 26th where AARP testified in support of the legislation. It's been passed out of committee and sent to the floor, where it has cleared several hurdles already, and we are very close to final passage, right? What do you think is going to happen with that, and what happens after it passes?
Yes, it is on final reading, which of course is the last stage in the legislative process. And we're very confident that this bill will pass out of final hearing and be sent to the governor for his signature. There was little or no opposition voiced during the hearings or the debate, so there is a lot of support for the bill. And we're just hoping that things continue to roll the way we want them to. The next step would be, if it passes out of final reading, that it would be sent to the governor, and once he signs it, it would become law.
Very good. I just want folks to note, if they don't know who their senator is or how to find it, we've got some information coming up on the screen there. You can go to the Nebraska Legislature site and you just put in your zip code, and it will give you your senator's email address and phone number and website so that you can contact them. This bill is moving fast, but there still may be time for you to go through and tell your senator that you support it, or thank them for voting for it if it has already passed by the time this is on air. Susan, any advice, because you're so good at it, any advice for reaching out to your senator to talk about these issues that are important to 50 plus Nebraskans?
I guess the only advice I would say is sometimes we're hesitant about emailing, thinking, well, they get so many emails, they don't read them, but they do go through those and read them. So please don't worry about, whether you need to send a hard copy letter in the mail. If email is easier for you, that is another way you can reach out to them. And I can tell you that we have been told by so many of the senators when we visited with them that they do read them, and they do, even if they only get one or two comments from people, sometimes that really does weigh in their decision. So it is important just to reach out, if nothing else, to meet your senator, become acquainted with them for in the future when there are other bills that you really want to discuss with them.
Well, let me first say thank you, Susan, for helping educate us today about this important bill, and for all of your work advocating on behalf of Nebraska's 50 plus that you do all the time. You're a great volunteer and do such great advocacy work. And thank all of you for watching and learning more about this important bill to help stop financial exploitation of older Nebraskans. Thank you very much.
Thank you.